Let me tell you something that might shock you. Kindness is not always holy, and it's not always helpful. Some of you have mistaken being kind for being weak. You're out here giving your time, your energy, and your peace to people who don't deserve access to you. Kindness is a beautiful quality, but without boundaries, it becomes a silent destroyer. When you constantly give your time, energy, and attention to everyone who asks for it, you slowly drain the very essence that keeps you alive and purposeful. Being kind doesn't mean saying yes to everything or everyone. It doesn't mean allowing people to misuse your heart because you're afraid of being misunderstood. The truth is, too many people confuse kindness with obligation. They believe that to be seen as a good person, they must always serve, always help, always give, even when it costs them their peace, their purpose, and their progress. There comes a time when you must realize that not everyone deserves your kindness. Some people see your generosity not as a blessing, but as an opportunity for exploitation. They take without gratitude, expect without effort, and drain without remorse. You become their emotional battery. They come to recharge, and once they're full, they leave you empty. You can't allow that cycle to continue. When you give kindness without boundaries, you teach people that your energy is free, your time is disposable, and your heart is open for misuse. Kindness without wisdom is not a virtue, it's a vulnerability. You have to know when to stop giving what people should earn for themselves. You have to know when to let others carry their own weight instead of constantly rescuing them from the lessons life is trying to teach. If you keep protecting people from consequences, they'll never grow. If you keep saying yes to things that drain you, you'll never have the strength to say yes to the things that build you. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They don't keep love out, they keep toxicity from coming in. A healthy boundary says, I care about you, but I care about myself too. It says, I'll help you, but I won't harm myself to do it. Some people will call that selfish, but it's actually sacred. Because when you honor your boundaries, you protect the divine energy inside you that was meant to serve your purpose. You can't pour out pure love if your cup is filled with resentment and exhaustion. When you set boundaries around your kindness, you actually increase its value. People start to respect what's rare. They begin to understand that access to your time, your peace, and your presence is a privilege, not a right. And the ones who truly care about you will not be offended by your boundaries. They will appreciate them because they know you are giving from a place of strength, not depletion. Being kind should never mean being powerless. It means knowing when to give and when to step back. It means loving people enough to let them grow through their own struggles. It means recognizing that your heart is not a tool for others to fix their problems. It's a sacred space for genuine connection and purpose. When you start practicing kindness with boundaries, you stop living as everyone's emotional crutch and start living as your true self, centered, focused, and strong. There's no reward in burning yourself out for people who won't even strike a match for you. You were not created to be a doormat for people's comfort. You were created to be a doorway to change. And doors open and close with intention. Every act of kindness must have direction, purpose, and limit. You are not responsible for everyone's happiness. You are responsible for your own alignment. So when you find yourself giving too much, pause. Ask yourself, is this kindness or is this self-abandonment? If it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. Because the truth is, when you learn to protect your kindness with boundaries, you don't become less kind. You become more powerful, more effective, and more at peace with yourself. Discernment is the silent strength behind every wise act of kindness. It is the ability to see beyond the surface, to sense intentions that words may hide, and to understand who truly deserves your time and effort. Without discernment, kindness becomes reckless. It becomes like watering weeds, hoping they'll turn into flowers. You have to realize that not every person who smiles at you is your friend, and not every hand that reaches for you is meant to be held. Some people are in your life not to grow you, but to test you, to take from you, and to distract you from the path that leads to your destiny. Discernment teaches you how to separate genuine connections from draining attachments. It's not about being suspicious or cold-hearted. It's about being wise with your heart. You can't keep investing emotional energy into people who have no intention of investing back. Every relationship, whether personal or professional, either multiplies your peace or subtracts from it. When you lack discernment, you'll keep mistaking proximity for loyalty, kindness for friendship, and manipulation for love. Some people don't come to add to your life. They come to feed on your energy until you're too tired to see what's really happening. Discernment says, I can love you, but I don't have to let you close. It gives you the strength to recognize when someone's presence is disrupting your purpose. It reminds you that love without wisdom leads to heartbreak, and generosity without boundaries leads to regret. You have to pray for eyes that see beyond the surface, eyes that can identify intentions before they manifest as disappointment. Because the truth is, energy doesn't lie. If you listen closely, people will show you who they are long before they tell you. Kindness guided by discernment becomes powerful. It's no longer about people pleasing, it's about purpose pleasing. You start giving from wisdom, not weakness. You begin to recognize that your time and your attention are sacred resources that must be managed, not squandered. When you discern who deserves your kindness, you're not being cruel. You're being strategic. You're positioning your love where it can grow and create fruit instead of frustration. Discernment also helps you identify seasons. Some people are meant to walk with you for a lifetime and others only for a lesson. The problem is that many of us try to make temporary people permanent fixtures in our lives. We confuse their temporary purpose with eternal loyalty. Then, when they leave, we feel betrayed. But discernment reveals that not every exit is a loss. Sometimes it's a divine promotion. It's the universe's way of clearing the space for those who are aligned with your next level. When you operate with discernment, you stop responding emotionally and start responding intentionally. You begin to evaluate, does this person inspire me or drain me? Do they respect my boundaries, or do they only value what I can give them? Do they celebrate my growth, or do they get uncomfortable when I start to evolve? The answers to these questions determine who truly deserves your kindness. Discernment doesn't make you judgmental. It makes you wise. It allows you to see people for who they are, not who you hope they'll become. And once you see clearly, you can love accurately. You can still show compassion, but you'll do it from a place of balance, not blindness. The more you practice discernment, the less time you waste trying to fix what isn't broken or save who doesn't want saving. In the end, kindness without discernment is generosity without direction. But kindness with discernment is power with purpose. It's how you protect your peace while still walking in love. You don't have to shut down your heart, just train it to see with wisdom. Because when your kindness is led by discernment, your life begins to attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right energy that align perfectly with your destiny. Many people spend their whole lives trying to be nice instead of trying to be purposeful. They want everyone to like them, to approve of them, to see them as kind, gentle, and agreeable. But the truth is, being nice is often a mask for fear. It's fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of standing out. You tell yourself you're being kind, but deep down, you're just trying to avoid discomfort. You can't fulfill your destiny if your mission is to keep everyone comfortable. Purpose and people-pleasing can't live in the same house. One will always push the other out. When your life revolves around being nice to everyone, you lose your voice. You start saying yes when you mean no, agreeing when you disagree, and pretending to be fine when you're exhausted inside. Niceness demands that you shrink yourself so others can feel tall. It teaches you to silence truth so no one gets offended. But purpose requires courage. It requires standing firm in your convictions even when others don't understand. Purpose doesn't need permission, it needs obedience. Niceness seeks acceptance. Purpose seeks alignment. When you're driven by niceness, you're always adjusting yourself to fit into other people's expectations. But when you're driven by purpose, you stop performing and start producing. You stop asking, will they like me? And start asking, is this what I'm called to do? The moment you shift from being nice to being purposeful, you'll notice something. Not everyone will clap for you. Some people will misinterpret your confidence as arrogance, your boundaries as selfishness, your honesty as aggression. But that's okay. You were never called to please the crowd. You were called to fulfill your calling. There's a quiet power that comes from knowing who you are. When you understand your purpose, you stop apologizing for walking in it. You stop watering yourself down to make others comfortable with your strength. You stop seeking approval from people who haven't even approved of themselves. Niceness may win you popularity, but purpose will win you peace. And peace is worth far more than public opinion. Niceness tries to avoid offense, but purpose sometimes offends, not because it's rude, but because it tells the truth. Truth challenges comfort, and comfort resists change. So when you start living by purpose, you'll notice resistance. People will test you, doubt you, even distance themselves. But don't let that make you retreat back into niceness. Let it push you deeper into clarity. You were not created to blend in. You were created to stand out and make impact. Impact requires boldness, and boldness often offends the timid. When you stop confusing niceness with purpose, you stop seeking validation from others. You start validating yourself through your alignment with what's right. You no longer do things just to keep the peace externally. You do what's necessary to protect the peace internally. You understand that sometimes love must be tough, sometimes truth must be spoken, and sometimes walking away is the kindest act you can perform. Purpose redefines what kindness looks like. It teaches you that real kindness sometimes comes in the form of boundaries, truth, and accountability. It's not always soft and agreeable. Sometimes it's firm and uncomfortable, but it's always rooted in love and wisdom. When you operate from purpose, your kindness has direction. It flows where it's most needed and produces results that last. The world doesn't need more nice people who say yes to everything. It needs more purposeful people who know when to say no. It needs people who stand for something, who protect their values, and who serve from strength instead of insecurity. Being nice is about reputation. Being purposeful is about transformation. So choose transformation over approval. Choose alignment over acceptance. Because once you start living for purpose instead of permission, you'll finally stop chasing people and start attracting destiny. Your energy is one of the most valuable forms of currency you have, and most people spend it carelessly. You can't see it or hold it, but it determines how you think, how you perform, and how you live. Every conversation, every commitment, every thought you entertain either deposits energy into your life or withdraws it. And yet so many people treat their energy like it's unlimited, giving it away freely to anyone who asks. They say yes to everyone, attend every event, answer every call, and then wonder why they feel empty and directionless. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it's strategic. Because if you run out of energy, you run out of life. Your time and energy are like money in a bank. When you spend recklessly, you end up bankrupt. You can't keep giving discounts to people who don't value your worth. Every time you allow toxic conversations, drama, negativity, or unnecessary distractions into your life, you're paying an emotional tax that leaves you drained. Energy is the real wealth because with it, you can create money, vision, and opportunities. But without it, you can't create anything at all. That's why people who don't guard their energy end up working harder and achieving less. Their focus is scattered, their mind is tired, and their spirit is empty. Protecting your energy begins with awareness. You must pay attention to what and who drains you. Some people bring peace and others bring problems. You can feel the difference the moment they walk into a room. After talking to certain people, you feel inspired and alive. After others, you feel exhausted and doubtful. That's your body telling you who deserves your energy. You can't fix everyone, and you're not meant to carry everyone. If someone consistently costs you your peace, they're too expensive to keep around. It's not just people who drain you. Sometimes it's your habits. Scrolling endlessly through negativity online, revisiting old regrets, or saying yes out of guilt. All these small leaks slowly empty your emotional account. Protecting your energy means being intentional about what you consume, what you focus on, and what you tolerate. Every yes you give to the wrong thing is a no to the right thing. You can't invest your energy into everything and expect to grow in anything. Think of your energy like a seed. When you plant it in good soil, meaningful work, positive relationships, spiritual growth, it multiplies. But when you scatter it on ungrateful ground, it dies. You must decide where your energy belongs. When you direct it toward things that align with your purpose, your life expands. But when you waste it on things that don't matter, your life feels small, heavy, and stagnant. Energy management is life management. Protecting your energy also requires courage. You'll have to disappoint some people. You'll have to say no to things that once made you feel important. You'll have to stop showing up to every argument, every invitation, every emotional storm that isn't yours to fix. Some people won't understand. They'll call you distant or selfish. But what they call selfish, wisdom calls stewardship, because you can't give what you don't have. Your peace is your power source. When you guard it, you move with clarity, confidence, and calm. You think better, decide better, and create better. But when you let everyone plug into your energy, you become dim. Protecting your energy doesn't mean isolation. It means intentional connection. It means surrounding yourself with people and environments that recharge you instead of deplete you. So treat your energy like gold. Spend it wisely, invest it intentionally, and protect it fiercely. Because when your energy is strong, your purpose is unstoppable. You'll stop reacting to life and start creating it. You'll realize that saying no to what drains you is really saying yes to the life you were meant to live. Love is powerful, but it becomes painful when it demands that you lose yourself. Too many people believe that loving others means sacrificing their own needs, suppressing their own truth, and settling for less than they deserve. They confuse loyalty with bondage and compassion with compliance. Real love was never meant to diminish you. It was meant to develop you. You can love people deeply and still protect your peace. You can care for others without abandoning yourself in the process. Love should expand your soul, not exhaust it. When you love without boundaries, you teach others that your comfort doesn't matter. You make excuses for behavior that disrespects you, all in the name of love. You keep forgiving without accountability, giving without replenishment, and showing up for people who never show up for you. That's not love, that's emotional self-destruction. Love is not going to be one-sided, draining, or manipulative. It's meant to be mutual, uplifting, and filled with respect. True love flows in both directions. It does not require you to run yourself empty while someone else thrives off your effort. There is a difference between loving someone and losing yourself in them. When love becomes survival, it stops being sacred. Real love invites honesty, not silence. It welcomes growth, not guilt. It encourages freedom, not fear. But when you constantly bend to keep the peace, you trade authenticity for acceptance. You start performing love instead of living it. The moment you have to compromise your identity to maintain a relationship, that relationship is no longer rooted in love, it's rooted in control. Loving people doesn't mean tolerating their toxicity. You can forgive someone and still refuse to let them close enough to wound you again. You can show grace without giving them the same access. Boundaries don't make you cold, they make your love pure. Because when you set limits, you're saying, I value this connection enough to protect it. Healthy love is built on accountability. It says, I'll meet you halfway, but I won't carry both of us. When you start loving yourself as much as you love others, everything changes. You begin to see that your peace is sacred, your joy is valuable, and your energy is limited. You learn that saying no isn't rejection, it's self-respect. You understand that walking away doesn't mean you stopped caring, it means you started caring enough about your own soul. You were not created to fix everyone. You were created to live in balance, to give love freely, but to give it wisely. Real love doesn't ask you to ignore your pain or your needs. It invites you to bring your whole self, healed, honest, and human. It makes room for truth even when it's uncomfortable. The people who truly love you will never punish you for setting boundaries. They'll respect you more because of them. They'll know that your no is not rejection, it's protection. Protection of your peace, your purpose, and your power. Love is not meant to be a burden. It's meant to be a blessing, but blessings require balance. If you keep pouring into people who never pour back, your love loses its strength. You can't keep giving what you don't have. Love yourself enough to rest, to say no, to distance yourself from what drains you. The moment you do that, you create space for real love, love that nourishes instead of depletes, love that honors instead of manipulates, love that gives life instead of taking it. So love boldly, but love wisely. Love others, but don't forget yourself. Because the most powerful love you can give anyone is the example of what it looks like to love without losing your identity. When you master that, your relationships become healthier, your boundaries become clearer, and your life becomes more peaceful. That's when love finally feels like what it was meant to be, freedom, not sacrifice. Truth is one of the purest forms of kindness, but it is also one of the most uncomfortable. Most people avoid telling the truth because they don't want to offend, lose approval, or face confrontation. But the truth, even when it hurts, has the power to heal, correct, and liberate. Real kindness is not about keeping everyone happy, it's about helping everyone grow. And growth never comes without discomfort. When you hide the truth to protect someone's feelings, you're not sparing them pain, you're delaying their progress. You can't build real relationships or real success on half-truths and polite lies. Telling the truth requires courage because it often costs you comfort. It means saying no when people expect wise. It means speaking up when silence would be easier. But the moment you start living truthfully, your entire life begins to align. You stop pretending to be what others want you to be, and you start becoming who you were meant to be. That kind of honesty may distance you from some people, but it will draw the right people closer. Truth acts like a filter. It removes what's false and strengthens what's real. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is to hold them accountable. Love without truth becomes enabling, and kindness without honesty becomes weakness. When you see someone headed toward destruction and you stay silent to keep the peace, you're not being kind, you're being complicit. True compassion says, I care about you too much to let you keep harming yourself. Real kindness doesn't just comfort, it corrects. It confronts what's wrong not out of anger, but out of love. Telling the truth also means telling it to yourself. You can't live in power while lying to yourself about what's broken, what's draining you, or what's no longer serving your purpose. Self-deception is the greatest form of betrayal. You can't heal from what you won't acknowledge. You can't change what you keep pretending is fine. Honesty with yourself creates freedom because truth shatters illusions that keep you stuck. The moment you admit what's real, you reclaim control over your life. But truth without grace can become harsh, and grace without truth becomes empty. The balance of the two is where real transformation happens. When you speak truth with love, it doesn't destroy, it restores. It pierces ego but protects dignity. It challenges behavior but honors humanity. You can correct someone without condemning them. You can confront wrongs without losing compassion. That's the beauty of truth spoken from the heart. It breaks what's false and builds what's real. Many people think that being truthful will make them lose relationships, but the truth is, honesty only destroys what's fake. If your truth causes someone to walk away, they were never truly there for you. They were there for the version of you that made them comfortable. When you start standing in truth, you might lose some people, but you'll gain peace, self-respect, and authenticity, things that can't be bought or faked. Truth also brings clarity. When you walk in it, you no longer have to remember what you said or who you pretended to be. You live lighter, freer, more grounded. Lies are heavy, they require constant maintenance. But truth carries its own peace. It may sting at first, but it heals with time. Lies, on the other hand, soothe for a moment, but destroy slowly. Being kind doesn't mean you avoid hard conversations. It means you have them with love and integrity. It means you stop rescuing people from reality and start empowering them to face it. Truth might close some doors, but it will open better ones, doors that lead to growth, strength, and purpose. So speak the truth, live the truth, and stand by it even when it's unpopular. Because the kindest thing you can ever do for yourself and others is to stop living in the comfort of lies and start walking in the freedom of truth. The world doesn't need your people-pleasing. It needs your purpose, your clarity, your strength. And you can't walk in that if you're too busy trying to keep everyone comfortable. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is to let go, walk away, and protect your peace.